Hello everybody. This is class 4. We're going to go through quite a few things today. As I often say, unless I make an egregious mistake, I'm just going to keep plowing through. So today we're going to look at XHTML for technical writers, and we're going to do a walkthrough of our first project, which is D1, which is due Friday at the end of this week. This is a YouTube session. So let's dig into what we're going to do today. What you'll get today is a quick XML refresh, where we are in the journey, a practical XHTML lesson, a complete guide to deliverable D1, and a step-by-step build and validation. So the idea is, I purposely did not specify this project yet. I've sort of kept you in the dark along the way. But the good news is I've dropped little hints along the way, and you'll probably recall this. Usually your clue is when I say hint, hint. For example, I've said hint, hint, be able to practice these exercises, whether they're the ones we did in class or the ones that we've done on YouTube, and get comfortable with them, because hint, hint, this might just be what you need to know and to do to complete your projects. Surprise, spoiler alert, here we go. Okay, so let's start off with the quick XML refresh, and then we'll talk about where we are in the journey and go over XHTML before doing that step-by-step guide for D1. So XML refresh, what is it? How does it work? Why does it matter? Those would be 3 great questions to be on a quiz, hint, hint. Let's jump into it. Let's do a quick 90-second overview. XML is text-based, structured, machine-readable. It's made up of elements, attributes. It cares about nesting, and there is well-formed versus valid, which you have had a lot of practice in if you've done the exercises, so you are in great shape to do this project. And why does it matter? We care about reuse, quality control, automations, portability. Let's just do a quick review of the structure, because we're going to be using that today, and then we'll do a quick review of valid versus well-formed. So elements define data. They sort of look like that example in the 3rd column there. Title, book, close tag for title. Attributes add properties. Remember I said that I think elements are nouns and attributes are adjectives. So in this example of an attribute, the attribute there is genre. That's the name of the attribute, and its value is fiction. And it's what I call an adjective describing the noun or the element of book. Nesting, of course, we have properly nested elements. In that example, you see that library is the root element, and there's a book element nested within it. And well-formed matters. That means proper tags, proper quotes, proper nestings. The green example there looks good. Tag, some content, and close element for tag. The second example is bad because it has all lowercase, then all uppercase, and there's no terminating slash. So that is malformed. But there's more than well-formed, there's valid. Well-formed follows syntax rules. Valid conforms to a DTD or XML schema. Validation is quality controlled for structured data. So well-formed follows the syntax rules, matching tags, quoting, nesting, etc., and is checked by an XML parser. Validity follows specific grammar or structure defined by a DTD and schema, and it's checked by a validator. And oh, by the way, every valid file must also be well-formed, but every well-formed file does not necessarily need to be valid. Hint, hint, that might be a question on a quiz. Okay, so let's dig a little deeper into valid. XML files with doctype declaration or schema declaration must validate against their DTD or schema. For this class, we'll only discuss DTD validation. This is a repeat from last week's slide. These next couple of slides are, but this is review. Why does it matter? Ensures consistency, supports automation, enables localization, reduces errors, and it's required in structured frameworks like DITA and XHTML. So some practical use cases: publishing, software localization, APIs, technical documentation, compliance. So what is DTD, a doc type definition? A DTD defines the legal building blocks of an XML document. It specifies what elements are allowed, what elements they may have, how elements are nested, and how many times each element can occur. The DTD acts as a rulebook for your XML. So you've already used these skills in the exercises and in the lectures. You've created a simple XML file, you've validated with an online validator and with VS Code, and you've fixed errors using validator feedback. So you're well prepared for learning about XHTML and then doing the D1 project. We talked about these scenarios. We talked about the variables, doc type, declaration, validator, access, DTD location, file handling, whether it's the DTD or the XML file, validation trigger, output style, and common use cases. And the option 1 row there is for the validator, and option 2 row there is that right? No, these are just options. It's an either or situation. So where are we in this journey? We are in week 4. So week 1 was the orientation to markup language and open standards as a theme. Week 2 was XML fundamentals. Week 3 was tools and validation. Today we're going over XHTML as a real deliverable that uses your XML skills. And then next we'll talk about data topics and maps, and then finally localization with XLIF. So if we think about this in terms of open standards, there's sort of an open standard through line. I don't know if that's a real word, but I kind of like it. XML and HTML are W3C standards. DITA is an OASIS standard. XLIF is an OASIS standard, meaning they are open, they are portable, vendor independent, and future friendly. So far, so good. Normally, if I were in a class, I would look at your body language, but I think it probably is so far so good. So let's jump right into XHTML. We're going to talk about strict predictable HTML as XML. So what is XHTML? HTML serialized as XML. So HTML, as we know, I think everybody raised their hand when I asked in class 1, are you familiar with HTML? All tags and attributes in XHTML are lowercase, all attributes are quoted, all elements are properly closed, and proper nesting is required. So HTML versus XHTML. HTML is less picky, browsers are more forgiving, and you don't have to have real strict code. But if you want to process that XHTML or the HTML downstream, whether it's through an API or automation or localization translation, you really need to have valid, because your tools need to know what to expect, not as loose as a browser is in what to expect. End tags are required. Elements must be self-closed. That means that little slash angle at the end of BR and IMG in this case, those are empty elements, properly closed. Case sensitivity matters, and there are quoting rules. If you use a double quote, then you have to end with a double quote. If you use a single quote, you have to end with a single quote. This helps to guarantee consistency for tools and transforms. So there are 2 versions of XHTML. We're going to use the strict version. It has a doc type and a namespace. which we will use in D1, hint, hint. There's a strict doc type, which is that angle bang doc type HTML public with the quote and then the declaration, followed by the location of the DTD, http://www.dub3.org tr XHTML 1.1 DTD, etc. And the root element has to begin with the namespace XML namespace with that URL there, and the XML lang, and then the regular old lang. So confusing. What is a namespace? Real quickly, it's a namespace is used as a unique identifier, usually a URL, as is the case in the example we just looked at, that distinguishes elements and attributes in one XML vocabulary from another. This prevents name conflicts when combining vocabularies like XHTML, SVG, MathML. It ensures that XML processors know exactly which standard each element belongs to. It provides global uniqueness like a domain name for your XML tags. In practice, this HTML with the namespace that we just talked about there, that line says in English, all elements in this document come from XHTML vocabulary defined by the World Wide Web Consortium, or W3C. So the minimum page structure starts off with that XML declaration we talked about. It starts out, and then it has the doc type declaration, not doc type definition, but doc type declaration. And then it has elements that are properly nested and follow the DTD. Common elements and the ones we'll use in this demonstration today are H1, heading 1, paragraph, unordered list, list item, image, and anchor A tag. So you have validation options. You can validate online using this W3C validator, which is what we'll require for this project. You'll have to upload files similar to how we did it with xmlvalidator.com. Or we can do it locally with VS Code with the XML Red Hat extension that will check the XML rules and use the W3C validator for XHTML doc type checks. But for this demonstration, we're going to use the first bullet. So why? I always ask why. Well, data authoring requires discipline with structure and nesting. XLIF workflows benefit from clean, predictable markup, and publishing is easier when the files are strict and valid. So that was the XHTML portion of this lecture in this YouTube presentation. Let's now go into the D1 deliverables. And I know that when I do this quickly, it might be confusing. You might say to yourself, well, that's easy for you to say. You've done XML and XHTML for many, many years. We, the students, are kind of new at this. That's okay. That's okay. That's why this makes a better YouTube recording asynchronous rather than a synchronous in-class time, because you'll be able to stop this recording and take as many times as you want to do what I'm doing. And don't worry, if it takes you way longer than it seems to do me, if I seem to be able to do it really quickly and really easily, it's because I have a ton of experience and you're new at this. So expect to go slowly, expect to need to rewatch parts of the recording that you need to rewatch, and you will be just fine. At the end of this, if you follow along and do just as I do, you will have 100% credit for your D1 deliverable. So let's get right into it. We'll talk about the requirements and the evaluation criteria. So the overview is that we'll have, this is, again, the D1 is what we referred to in the syllabus as the foundational project. XML and XHTML. The output will be one valid XHTML 1.0 strict page, and will demonstrate correct structure that demonstrates correct structures, has a few elements, and is valid. So the required elements are, of course, you start off with your XML declaration and your XHTML strict doc types, and I'll demonstrate that in a moment here. You'll start off with your HTML root element with your XHTML namespace and language attributes. You'll need a head with a title, and then you'll terminate the head, and then you'll start your body, and you'll open with your H1 tag. You'll have at least 2 paragraph tags, 1 list either unordered or ordered, with 3 list items. You'll need 1 link, and you'll need 1 image with alt text and self-closing in syntax, otherwise known as an empty element. Don't worry, we'll go over this. It'll make a lot of sense. Then you'll need to validate it. So you'll go to this URL there, https://validator.w3.org, and you'll upload your file. You'll fix all of the reported errors and warnings, and then you'll submit your XHTML file and supporting image or images, plus a screenshot of the successful validation to me by this coming Friday. So the way we'll score this is you'll get 2 points for structure and correctness. You'll get 1.5 points for valid XHTML 1.0 strict compliance. You'll get 1 point for quality and clarity of content. That seems a little bit subjective, but I'll show you what I mean here in a second. And then your submission completeness and naming will get you 0.5 point. And if you get all of those right, and I'll demonstrate how to get all of those right, you will receive the full 5 points for D1. So the constraints and tools, we're going to use one of our editors, VS Code, Sublime, or Notepad++. Because I'm on Mac today, I'll be demonstrating with Sublime. Do not use Copilot or AI for this project. Of course, I won't know that you did or didn't do that, but for your own benefit, for your own learning, that's my recommendation. And use your own original content. In other words, have fun with it. So here's a step-by-step demo and validation. So I'll quickly go through these, and then we'll back it up, and we'll actually do it on screen. So you'll want to prepare. You'll need to create new folders and subfolders in your Tech Tools folder. And the first folder you'll need to build in Tech Tools will be called Deliverables, and then build a subdirectory or subfolder for D1, D2, D3, and D4. You'll create a file, d1-homepage.xhtml in your D1 directory. You'll add the XML declaration and the XHTML strict doc type declaration. You'll add your root elements with namespaces and language. Then you'll add your head and title. Then you'll terminate title, terminate head, and then you'll do, I love this word, body scaffolding. You'll add a body with an H1, then 2 paragraphs, add a unordered list, otherwise known as a bulleted list with 3 line items. Then you'll add an href, which is an anchored with a reference to another website. And then you'll add an image tag with a source and an alt. And everything will need to be tidy and well-formed and valid. Then you'll visually check, knowing the strict XHTML rules. Is everything lowercase? Are the attribute names lowercase? Are the attributes properly quoted? Is every element closed? And are the empty elements self-closed with that trailing / greater than sign? Then after your visual validation, you'll actually go to this URL, the W3C validator, and you'll upload your file, and you'll resolve errors such as missing end tags, unquoted attributes, etc. And then you'll re-upload and validate until you get that thumbs up, everything's valid. And then we'll just go through a final checklist. We'll make sure that it passes the W3C validator, that all of the elements that I just specified are in your file, that you have a clean file name and a clean file location, and the screenshot of the validator results is saved and submitted to me. That will get you the full 5 points. Whew. So I'm going to go through the last couple of slides here, and then I'm going to do the demonstration. So closing and looking ahead, the key takeaways: XHTML is HTML with XML rules that support quality and automation. You now have everything you need to know. You now know everything and have everything you need to complete D1. You'll validate, fix, and submit with a screenshot. Next steps: submit D1 to me by midnight Friday, the 24th of October. Next week we start DITA, topics and maps. That'll be fun. You'll bring your validated XHTML file to the next class and hit me with your best questions. Let's get into that demo now. So I have a few things queued up here. Let's see here. So I am going to start off with following the directions of the slides. So I've got the slides here. And we will, by the way, these slides, as always, are in the resource, or the slide 4 in, come on, I need to resize this. Sorry, I'm being distracted. There we go. Good. So we're going to jump right in here, and we're going to do everything that we're supposed to do. So we're going to start with our preparation. As I said, unless I make an egregious mistake, I will. Here we go. So we're going to go to our Tech Tools folder, and we're going to build that deliverables folder, and then the D1, D2, D3, and D4. So here we go. There's Tech Tools. And now I'm going to do a file, new folder, and I'm going to call it deliverables. Okay. We go into that folder, and I'm going to create D1, and I'm going to create D2, D3, and wait for it, D4. Okay, we'll go into D1, and now let me grab this guy, and I'm just going to create a new XHTML file. Whoops, I better keep up with the slides. Okay, so I've done this, and now I'm going to create a new page called d1-homepage.xhtml in this folder. Okay, so I'm going to start off with just a placeholder. going to save that. I'm going to go here to my deliverables, D1, and I'm going to call this D1 homepage.xhtml. Right there. And this is what you get sometimes from Sublime. They would like you to purchase it. I probably should one of these days. I'm just going to hit cancel, continue on. Okay, so I've satisfied the first requirement. I've created that properly named file. And then I'm going to add my XML declaration and my XHTML strict type and my root element with the namespace and the language attributes. Okay, so starting here, I'm going to type angle question mark XML space version equals quote 1.0 1.0 close quote space encoding equals quote UTF-8, that's Unicode. And then I'm going to create my doc type declaration. I'm going to go back into my slides here because I don't want to type all of this out. And I'm going to remember that, did we type all this out? Yes, we did, right here. I'm going to copy all of this. Command-C in Mac, Control-C in Windows. And I'll go back to my slide, or my file. I'm going to paste that in right there. So far, so good. Everything is looking good and everybody's happy, it looks like. Okay. Or, no, they're not, because I somehow clobbered the opening XML tag, the HTML tag. So I'm going to go back here and recreate it. Is everybody happy now? Maybe not. Let's see here. Oh, there's the culprit. Question mark, close quote. Now everybody's happy. Okay, yeah. Okay, so now I know I need to put a namespace on there, and it's going to be this namespace, XML NS for XML namespace. I'm just going to copy that. That has everything I need with the XML lang and the lang attribute. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to space, Command V, and so far everybody's happy, no errors. Okay. All right, so that's the first requirement. So we've created our file, we've added our XML declaration and our doc type declaration, and we've created our HTML root element with namespace and lang attributes. We need to add head and title. And I'm purposely not being super careful with the indentation or the making it pretty. I'm just strictly following the requirements here. Okay, I need a body with an H1. So let's create the body in the H1. Let's put this here so I don't have to keep scooting things around. Right after the head. I'm going to close that body. Everything's, oops. Oh, it did it for me. Okay. Then I'm going to go in here. I'll put an H1 in here. Enter. And our Sublime Text is kind of helping me with these smart tags here, which is fine, but I wasn't kind of prepared for that. So then I want to put in 2 p tags. So I'll do that. Okay, that's how I do it. And then I'll put another p tag. So I'm going to just type angle, p, angle, and then I'll just type angle and slash, and it knew that I wanted to terminate that p tag. So that's fine. And then I need an unordered list, UL, and then I need 3 line items. I'll put the content in later. So I'm going to do LI, and it closes the LI, another LI, closes the LI, and then my third LI. These are list items. Okay, so I have those. What else do I need? I need an href to another website. So I'm going to create another paragraph to put my href inside. So I'm just going to go here, enter, and I'm going to do another paragraph, p, close my p, and I'm going to backspace into my paragraph, and I'm just going to put that anchor tag. A space href equals quote quote close A, and right here I'm just going to write what should I link to? Why don't I just link to this guy right here? Copy that and go back there, and let's get my text editor back up, and I'm going to link to this. So I'll put this here, and I'm also going to put it in my href between the opening quote and closing quote. Okay, and I'll just put some text here. This is where the world, I'll just shorthand it, W3C, website is located. And then I'll want a space there after located. And then I'll want a period here. for the end tag. I want a close quote, and then my terminating tag. What have I done wrong here? Nothing. Okay, I was confused. So now I want to close my A tag. There. That's all nice and tidy. And then I need an IMG. So I'm going to put an IMG there. Space SRC equals. And I'm just going to put some dummy text in there for right now, which I will replace. And then I will space / angle, and I'm good. Okay. So I've fulfilled everything I need here. What else am I supposed to do? Visually check strict XHTML rules. Before I do that, I'm going to put some text in there. I'm going to make this H1. How to build XHTML. You can get creative with this. You could say how to build a birdhouse. My favorite band is the Red Hot Chili Peppers, whatever you want to say. And then I'll say, since I'm talking about XHTML, this page uses strict XHTML. And then I'll just stay with that theme. This page will validate using the strict XHTML validator. And then in my bullet items, I'll say clean structure, predictable markup, and what else? Portable files. Okay. Now I'm going to put a real URL in there. I'm going to go back into my folder, which is hidden by these files. I'm going to go back, and I know that I put an image in here. I'm going to copy that. And just to be simple, I'm going to go back into my deliverables, D1. I'm just going to put it right there, right next to the HTML file. It's not showing the file extension, so I'm going to see what file extension that is. And I'm going to get my info, and it is here it is. It's a JPEG. Why not just copy that? I'm going to copy that. Go back into my dummy placeholder. And I'm going to Command V that into there. And now I'm going to do my visual inspection. First clue is that my syntax checking text editor doesn't show me any errors. However, it's probably only checking against well-formedness and not validity. So I have all lowercase tags. My doc type declaration is correct. My XML declaration is correct. I'm using that first namespace for the W3C XHTML DTD. I have content in each of my elements. My image element properly closes. It's a empty element, but it self-closes, and it looks like everything is right. So I'm just going to save this. And just for fun, I'm going to throw it into VS Code. Where's my VS Code? Must not have it open, so I'll open it here. There it is. And I'm going to just drop this into there. And I'm going to hit, what do I remember? Is it Command Shift F? Nope. I'll just go up here. Well, go here. Don't have those notes in front of me. Let me see. If we were in class, I'd say, who remembers how we did that? So I'm going to go back to our class 2 slides and find out how we do that. So we did that. Here. As I said, unless I make an egregious mistake, I'll let you kind of follow along with me. Oh, we didn't. Did we just use the validator? Okay, in that class 2. Okay. So let's look at class 3. Okay. All of this to find the command. We're getting close. There we go. We do Shift Option F. Okay. All of that to find that command. Put our cursor here. Shift Option F. And first thing it did, notice that it made the nice printing of my spaces and everything. And then it also says no problems were detected in the workspace. But it doesn't tell us that it validated against this DTD. So actually it did, but let's assume we didn't. Let's follow the letter of the law here. Let's go ahead to this step. After we visually inspect, we're going to go to the W3C validator. Okay. We're going to say validate by file upload. We're going to choose our file. We're going to go into our deliverables, D1, this one, and open it. And now we're going to check it. 2 errors. Uh-oh. What are the errors? Required attribute alt is not specified. There we go. I should have done that. And then the document type does not allow image here. It's missing one P, H1, H2. Okay, those are the places where images can go. All right, so this is a good step, a good validation for us to follow. So let's follow it. Let's fix those things. Let's put our alt tag in here. Bob Seeger in 1978 in Clarkston, Michigan, where Brian grew up. Let's save that. And then let's also, oops, that's not where we needed the alt tag. We needed it on the IMG. So let's cut that. Let's put it here in this IMG. We'll save that. I fixed one of the errors, but not the other one. Let's go ahead and put this in the P tag too. Save that. Unfortunately, we can't just say try again. We have to actually go back. And we have to choose that file again. And we'll check. Ta-da! This document was successfully checked by XHTML 1.0 strict, and it's green and it passed. It also gives us some information about it, the encoding, the doc type, and the root element, and the root namespace. So everything is good. So let's see, pros and cons. I went through all of the steps and we ended up with a deliverable that is absolutely meets all of the requirements. So what I'll do is I'll take a screenshot of this and control bleep, bleep, bleep. It's a screenshot. And I'm going to put it in the folder, the screenshot into the folder. I'm going to zip that up and I'm going to email it to the professor before Friday at midnight, and I will get full credit for the D1 project. So that's it. That's all you have to do. If you have any questions or run into any roadblocks, please let me know and I will unblock you. Thanks, everybody.